Today I'm sharing the top 5 mistakes to avoid when turning a garage shelving unit into a display case. These mistakes cover key things I learned during my build that weren't covered in the tutorials that I watched, but I know I wasn't isolated in experiencing some of these issues. When I started speaking to fellow Hot Toys collectors, a lot of them ran into these same issues, in particular my number 1 mistake to avoid. So let's dive straight in with number 5. And this is not paying attention to the construction of your shelving unit. Not all garage shelving units are created equally, and it's really important to pay attention to the exterior of the frame. While some garage shelving units, like the one you can get from Costco, have a smooth exterior, a lot of the shelving units on the market look like the Pinnacle rack that I purchased, which have bolts and connector plates that mean the exterior surface of the shelving unit isn't even. You may be wondering why this matters, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because if the exterior of your shelving unit isn't even, you're going to need a lot more depth from your magnetic tape to ensure a really secure and flush connection between the shelving unit and your acrylic panels. This conveniently leads me to mistake number 4, which is not having enough magnetic tape. When you're completing this project, you are going to need a lot more magnets than you think. If you're using a shelving unit that doesn't have an even exterior, it's very likely that you're going to have to stick 2 pieces of magnetic tape to each other to give you the depth needed to clear any bolts or external connector plates. I originally purchased 60 meters of magnetic tape and I thought that was more than enough, but I hadn't accounted for the construction of my shelving unit, and that meant that when I started having to double stack the tape, I went through 60 meters pretty quickly. So not considering the construction of my shelving unit had the knock-on effect that I ran out of magnets and I had to wait for more to arrive online to be able to complete the project. As a bonus tip, I'd like to mention that if you're using a shelving unit like mine, you can add extra layers of magnetic tape to the top and bottom of the side panels and to the top of the front acrylic for an extra secure connection. Those side panels can be quite heavy, so it gives me extra peace of mind knowing there's extra reinforcement with 2 layers of magnets at the top and bottom. Mistake number 3 is lacking patience when applying vinyl tape. I'll be honest, I have a real love-hate relationship with vinyl tape, but if you're going to use it, make sure you're patient so you get a good result. If you mess it up, take off the tape and start again. When I started doing my side panels, I got really impatient, and I'm not going to lie, a couple of those borders don't look the best. I'm lucky that the placement of my cabinet means I can hide them, but in hindsight, I wish I'd taken a little bit more time and been a little bit more careful to ensure a straight border and less air bubbles. Another bonus tip for me is that if you're doing your panels and you've got 1 or 2 air bubbles, honestly, when the panels are in situ, you won't notice them that much. My front panels have 1 or 2 air bubbles, and once the panels are in place, I've hardly noticed them. Mistake number 2 is not having an acrylic cleaner on hand. Cleaning acrylic isn't fun, nor is the static that you experience when you remove the protective sheet off the acrylic panel. So I strongly recommend getting an acrylic cleaner and good quality microfiber cloths. I've been using Nova Spray and it does a great job of cleaning the acrylic and helping prevent static. The first time I bought Novas, I did get this 3-pack, which is more suited to repairing scratches than cleaning the large acrylic panels on my display case. This is the one I would recommend for cleaning. It's a bigger bottle and has a spray nozzle. You can find these on eBay or Amazon. So now it's time for my number 1 mistake, and I believe it's 100% the biggest tip you need to take from this video, and this mistake is not gluing your magnetic tape to your acrylic panels. I watched a lot of tutorials and this is something that was never mentioned, but you really do need to glue your magnetic tape to the acrylic because over time the adhesive will fail. This happened to me around 6 weeks after I completed my display cabinet. I came home from work one day and the front acrylic panels were on the floor, but the magnets were securely fastened to the display case. So despite the technical specifications of the magnetic tape I purchased saying that it could handle a lot more weight than my acrylic panels, the adhesive did fail. And when I started speaking to fellow Hot Toys collectors, a lot of them were in the same boat. They said that they had to glue their magnets to the acrylic because the adhesive failed on them too. I'm not really sure why no one's talking about this, but again, I just want to stress, if you are using magnetic tape, spend the time to glue them in place and avoid the issue that everyone else has come across. So once the adhesive failed on me, I actually used this Gorilla Glue gel to glue the magnets to the acrylic panels. Make sure you follow the directions on the packet. I left the glue to cure for 24 hours before putting the panels back on the display case, and they've been rock solid ever since. I've glued those magnets in place around 3 months ago, and I've had absolutely no problem since. So those are the 5 key mistakes to avoid when building a DIY display case using a garage shelving unit. If you have any questions or need additional information, feel free to ask me down in the comments. I'm happy to help as much as I can. And if you found this video useful, please remember to show your support by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. I've also popped the link to the video talking about my original build down in the description. I used some different materials compared to a lot of other collectors, so if you're interested in finding out more about the materials that I used, make sure you check out that link down in the description.